Welcome to Feed the Beast, a podcast where I interview leaders and entrepreneurs in the food industry. This week, we have Chris Paul and Leigh-Ann Charles-Paul of Everything We Eat. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us. It's a nice day, finally.
Yeah, it is. It's great. It's been so cold.
Well, before we get started with the interview, we're going to play a quick game of this or that. And before we actually get started with the game, I wanted to introduce you both as the new hosts of Feed the Beast. So it's going to be great to learn more about your business and how you're going to take over the show.
That's awesome. We look forward to it, to meeting new entrepreneurs and interviewing them in the future.
Yeah, definitely. We're all about the community, so we're excited.
Great. So I'm going to give you two options, and they're all going to be food related, and you'll say which one you prefer and why. So we'll get started with Leigh-Ann. Wine or beer?
So it used to be beer because I love beer. But now it's neither wine nor beer. I'm taking a year off.
Okay. Nice cleanse.
Yeah, just a cleanse, you know.
Eat in or take out?
Definitely eat in. I mean, I think takeout, just from what we do now, you definitely lose some of the quality. You know, so I like to, whatever the person anticipated to taste like, I want to taste that, unless I have to.
Salt or sugar?
These are hard. I think salt or sugar. Both? Can we mix salt and sugar? Yeah, we can mix salt and sugar. We do it in the Caribbean all the time. Yeah, both. I'd say both.
Chocolate or vanilla?
That's tough too. Yeah, I think I like eating chocolate, but vanilla flavor is like very influential. You know, it's just like we do vanilla extract a lot in the Caribbean. And it's just like a drop in your iced tea, and it's amazing. But then, like, I wouldn't necessarily put chocolate flavor in anything, but eating chocolate is fun. So.
And the cocoa in Trinidad and Haiti are like, so.
Yeah, so maybe vanilla for now.
Okay. Sweet or savory?
Definitely savory. Yeah. I think I'm getting the questions that are like either or, but I'm like both. Yeah, I'm going to do umami. Umami is just like the best. I want like the juxtaposition all around.
And last question, coffee or tea?
Definitely tea. I like coffee because I get to put cream in it, and I like drinking cream, but it'll be weird if I just had cream in my cup. But tea is like a whole world of things. You know, tea is amazing. There's so much versatility and benefits and all these things, and then you could still get the caffeine, and you know, you could really play around with it. So definitely tea.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing such in-depth responses. I really appreciate getting feedback from the food experts in the room. So I want to get started with the interview and learn more about your upbringings and where you grew up and how your upbringing involved food and cooking.
Yeah, so I grew up in Trinidad, and I was always kind of forced to be into the kitchen and cooking. My mom would come, I'm making pilau. I'm like, I don't want to learn. I want to just sit and play. And it wasn't till I went to college and I got into environmental science, and I started getting into nutrition and, you know, food security and that kind of stuff, and education. And that's when, taking those routes and avenues, I started farming, WOOFing, which is worldwide organization of farmers, and they volunteer. It's a forum where farmers internationally, you know, reach out to like-minded folks who want to just explore their country or region and then volunteer on the farm. And so I got this awesome experience, and then from there everything kind of progressed. I got into a culinary internship. I started doing more nutrition education things and doing cooking demos, and with all of that and my college experiences, my passion for food really grew. So it wasn't like I was like, oh yeah, I'm so excited to cook this meal at home, but definitely seeing where my food comes from is a huge component to me. And then even just growing it and then cooking it on a plate, you're like, oh, I grew these. It's even more exciting. So that's where my passion definitely.
And growing up in Trinidad, did you have a garden or farm?
Oh, well, we didn't have a garden. I mean, it's a tropical region, so there's just everything. We had mango trees, like the sweetest mangoes, sweeter than Haiti. So I'm just kidding. We had mango trees, plum trees. I used to climb the trees and pick off the plums and like dip them in salt. And because our plums aren't like the American plums, they look like olives, so they're a little more savory. And yeah, we had like limes and we had so many different things. So I'm used to just picking fruits, or even going to the beach and having like a little old lady with a cart full of like fresh fruit that was just picked. So yeah.
And then Chris, can you share more about your upbringing in Haiti?
Yeah, so I was born in Brooklyn and stayed here for a short period, not enough for me to remember that young. Then I went back to Haiti. That's where mostly all my family is. Grew up till about 9. So that's where I got a lot of experience from farming and initial cooking. I didn't necessarily enjoy cooking at that young age. At first, I wanted to be an engineer. But as I got older, in every Caribbean culture, we kind of repeat. We would do our thing on Sunday. It was just like, this is the meal. This is the Monday meal.
And what is your Sunday meal?
It usually would be like a variety of things. So we would usually have maybe 2 proteins, like a stewed chicken with like some fried fish. We'll have like always a salad, like a green salad with tomatoes and stuffed cucumbers. And then we would have like sort of like a potato salad, but we do a beet salad sometimes. And then within that, we would have like some sort of fresh squeezed juice. And never really dessert. We really never really ended with dessert. And then from that, we would eat supper, which is usually like some sort of porridge with like corn or something like that. So it was very elaborate. Now I appreciate it more, but back then I'm like, all right, every Sunday though, this is gonna keep me in it. So that motivated me to get in the kitchen. And also my grandmother, she just always cooks every day. She kind of picks and cooks. And I think we were growing about 50 things, similar to Leigh-Ann. We had the mangoes, coconuts, but we were literally maybe 1 out of 2 vegetables in our plate was from like our garden. So that really got me to think about, all right, what do I eat? That's always been my metabolism is crazy. So like every hour I have to really figure out like, all right, what am I going to eat next and what is it or where do I find it? So as I got older, maybe around 12, I really started trying to cook, like taking things out of a box and not following the instructions at first, where it's like, oh, cool, now it's my meal. And then from there, 16, I got my first kick in a real restaurant. And then we just kind of excelled from there.
I'm wondering, since you both are entrepreneurs, did your family, I guess, where did the influence come from? Was it from your family growing up? Did you grow up around entrepreneurs or in an entrepreneurial environment?
Yeah, definitely. My grandfather, he was an engineer. He bought and built a bunch of different houses, some government buildings and things. So he was more in the construction end. For the most part, everyone else sort of had like a regular job. So I would say that's probably my main source. He had his own schedule. Of course, he worked extremely hard and extremely long hours, but you didn't necessarily have to, go and clock in somewhere or do anything. Whereas, most of the rest of my family just, they just made a decent living working for a specific schedule. So that was my motivation, where I guess I'm addicted to the struggle and the hard work.
Yeah, my whole family is entrepreneurs. Like they did a lot of importing and exporting. So when I was younger, my mom and my dad, along with my uncles and aunts, they would travel to America, come back to Trinidad, sell goods. So I grew up in that, and they had so much freedom to just do whatever. They traveled everywhere. They were able to hang out with us. And so I think when I wanted to originally be a doctor from a nutritionist, which was actually just like 2 years ago, but when I worked in the healthcare field, I was just like, no windows. Like, I love helping people, but I think I can help them in a different way, which is maybe through food as a medicine. And I like having the luxury to do what I want at what time. So that's why entrepreneurship works really well. If you really have to figure out, though, if you're that person, because it comes with a lot. Even though you want to have the freedom to do what you want to do in the beginning stages, it's a lot of hard work. And I don't think that's factored in a lot of the times.
Can you share more about the struggles that you've had in entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I think the key word for me is always uncertainty. Mm-hmm. So that's the separation that you have to take. And, I say to anyone looking to do something, if you do have a job and they're flexible, don't necessarily say, oh, I quit. I'm going to keep your job, get the income and build your business as you're going. But the biggest thing is just there's no certainty, monthly I project okay, I'm going to try to make this amount of money, whereas you could obviously clock in and, every 2 weeks, I'm getting this no matter what, hopefully more, and being an entrepreneur, it could really fluctuate based on so many variables. And then the worst part is once you are paid, that's just this fun number. So I usually have a chart where I'm like, this is like February. So let's say a number. It's not actually there. You have to go actually get each one of those checks and send the invoice, talk to this guy, remind this person. And, based on who you're working with, some people are like, oh, we pay out every 30 days. Some people are like, we pay out every 2 months. And it's like, some people are like, I'm just not around, So it's like, besides earning the money, it doesn't there's no direct deposit for entrepreneurship. You actually have to go get the money and make sure, you stay on top of everyone. It's not everyone's trying to be bad or anything. It's just everyone's busy. And if it's not easy, you have to make it easy for them.
Yeah, time is also a major factor. I'm also in grad school, so it's been interesting trying to get everything, but time is a major factor, and be flexible to change. I mean, stick to what you want. But the reality is when you're doing a business and you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to think, am I doing this for me? Because if you're doing it for only you, then you might as well do that as a hobby. But are you doing this because you want to make money and make the customers happy? And that's the key right there, customers. If you don't have customers and they're not buying your product and they're not happy, then why are you in business? So definitely be flexible to change. Let's say you're making ice cream, but everybody wants gelato. Switch to gelato, or maybe do ice cream and gelato, even if you hate it, but definitely be flexible and definitely organize your time right. And maybe not go in school and become an entrepreneur at the same time.
And what is your grad program in?
I'm actually doing my master's in public health. So it's definitely in line with what we're doing here. We do a lot of nutrition education as well. We work with the free library, and even at IBX, our live dinner shows, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, they are actually about educating the public about nutrition and food and local foods. So it's kind of all of that. Still trying to figure out where I want to take that degree, but it's in line with us.
Definitely. And Chris, can you share more about your educational background and kind of how you learned the ropes of food?
I graduated from Overbrook, and there I had a few jobs in and out in the kitchen, very small roles. I didn't even know I was going to go to direct, so it was a weird experience. At first, I was like, man, I'm just going to just keep cooking, And then I was with this great program called Philadelphia Futures with kind of build the ropes. They were I had a mentor, and these were there the whole time from 14 on. It's kind of just they're just hey, here's the key to this door. And I was just going in hey. And a month before going to Drexel, I found out oh, this was a thing. They have culinary. And I graduated high school and literally had a week off, went to my brother's wedding, and then started summer quarter at Drexel. And then just since then, I feel like I haven't had a time off since 17. So it was a great program, culinary, bachelor's of science with an entrepreneurship minor. So, I definitely got the business end of, feasibility studies, things you need to know before doing business. Is does anyone want this? Do anyone care? Don't just start doing things because you like them, or 5 people are we really like this. Yeah. It's do people here like this? And if not here, how do you get it there? So that was a good program with the business end. Definitely makes it easy to do a lot of things. I think it gave me the privilege of being able to go somewhere. Obviously, if you did have a bachelor's in culinary arts, and I did, I have an edge, and obviously you have to perform. Cooking is a very tangible sport. I call it a sport because you can't pretend to cook. You can take pictures, but once someone starts eating it and you need to start producing for larger quantities, you can't pretend. And the culinary program itself was practicing. That's all it is, right? Because, you're not cooking on a strict timeline. You're not necessarily worried about food costs and budgeting. Great thing about Drexel being that it's a big university is their food budget was very elaborate, so we weren't penny pinching. If we needed to get a bunch of fish in, we got it. If we needed to get whatever to practice based on that class, we got it. So I would say at the end of it, I probably have literally 10,000 recipes and have cooked in the 4 years, maybe 700 dishes and tasted another few thousands from the student because we did it as a communal class. So that, that's exactly what you get out of culinary school, being that you go with somewhere with resources.
Great. And can you share what is the business of everything we eat?
So we came up with the name because everything we eat, we wanted to share with the public. Chris is a chef. I'm a nutritionist. We're both very interested in the farm to table aspect, and not even just because, it's farm to table, but because we are also gardeners and we believe in the value of getting your food from a local source. So that's what we wanted to bring to everybody else. So we do meal prep, and because Chris started doing meal prep originally once Urban closed, and he could go more into that. And then we do live interactive dinner shows where we stand in front of everybody and kind of cook, and the audience sits and watches and is able to talk to us and, ask questions, because a lot of people, if they go to a restaurant and they see a plate, they're like, ooh, and they have this conversation about the food, but being able to actually talk to the chef and also being able to talk to a nutritionist about, hey, is this healthy? Is this cool? Is a real benefit. So we do that. We also do nutrition education programs, like I mentioned earlier, catering, the kind of drop-off catering. We're into everything. Whatever you want, we're going to do. But it's all about, Chris always says, everything you eat, we are there. And we want to be there at every step of the way, from your groceries to it being in your stomach. So it's
essentially sourcing. I think my whole life I've been forced. Everything I do, someone's like, oh, what kind of food it is. And to me, it's frustrating and lame to think that I'm supposed to just make Caribbean food, or I'm supposed to just make soul food, or it's just like, oh, after 12 years of cooking, now I'm just doing this one thing because that's what I look like. And it's ridiculous. So what we focus on is, where is this from? Once we figure that out, how do I cook it best? Then we figure that out, because how is it good for you, or what are the benefits? And then we start building plates. Then, she does the nutritional facts. We figure out, maybe this is high cholesterol, this is blah, blah. So let's pair it up with something else. And that's essentially what we're doing. It's, it's a website, it's online, and it's live. Like, our next event is at Audrey Claire Cook on Friday. Fortunately, it's sold out. It's a very tough spot to get in. But, it's not like we're just doing meal prep. It's very elaborate. Our cook menu is 5 courses, very upscale. Whereas, we could take something to the free library, where we're doing something on May 1st, actually, at the Rittenhouse Library. And that's open to the public. So check out our events page. And that's very simple. We're going to do Green Goddess with spring vegetable tabbouleh. So you could come in, it's kid friendly, and that could be free. And then, there's things that might be a small fee, and then cook, you could spend like $150. So
it's paired with alcohol.
It is paired with wine. It's definitely a great experience. It's intimate, only 16 people. So that's the thing. We just don't want to be barred into this category. It's not like, it's not fast food. It's not cheap. It's everything.
Everything we eat. Got it. So you mentioned, Chris, your experience before starting this business. Can you share more about Urban and that project and how that went?
Yeah, Urban was a really great project. It was random. One note out of maybe 25 establishments I worked, 23 of them were like literally Craigslist. Like, I'm like the Craigslist guy. My resume, my cover letter, I see opportunities. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And that tag was from 2013 or 14. And it said, like, looking for healthy, young, whatever chef. And I was like, oh, where? Like, I power lift and I cook. Like, this is me. And I sent in my thing. It's funny. I always had on my resume, I would put, like, powerlifting stats. I'm like, yeah, I'm deadlifting, like, 480 at 150. Like, what's up?
And you still got hired.
I still do. And people, everyone's trying to be like, oh, you can't put that on your resume. Like, I'm Chris Paul. I'm going to do what I want. But that ended up being just there. Like, nothing happened because I think they were in the planning stage. So I ended up being executive sous at Bird Street. That was a great opportunity. I ended up going to La Croix briefly, and then it came back around because I think they had all the legal stuff. And like, hey, look, we're ready to launch. We need a opening menu. So I came on as a consultant. I did their opening menu, standardized the recipes, practice it. And they were like, hey, man, we have a lease at 36 and Market. I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like, when I went to Drexel, I lived a block away. And now I bought a house down the street. So I was like, all right, I'll try it out. So I went in, minority partner. We opened December 15th, 2015, and it was great. Then we hit some variables. You're in University City. Things fluctuate about 25 to 30% in the summer. We had CHOP move out of the building. That's another, and it's all these numbers, right? Essentially, our landlord was very reasonable. We were able to get in and out, and it was a great opportunity. And one thing I learned, it's location. Even if you do everything right, like, food costs below 25%, labor costs amazing, 4.9 Yelp review, and there's all these things. It's like, Instagram friends, and we're everywhere. We're donating. We did it all.
You
We're
almost
paying.
won Best of Philly.
Yeah, we did all these things. We paid people wages. Good wages. We did everything. But at the end of the day, it's just like, if you're under a train station, it doesn't matter what you do. So lesson learned, location.
The business now is location independent. And where are you working out of?
We're operating out of the Dorrance H. Hamilton Culinary Center at 48th and Spruce. And it's funny, that's how Urban started. So to prove our concept, we actually were open online 5 to 9 Monday through Friday, and you ordered through GovUp or delivery. And we literally set up a restaurant Monday through Friday in the share kitchen and delivered. And sometimes we were hitting 90 covers in a day, in the share kitchen that we're setting up and breaking down daily. So when I thought of it, I was like, there's the center right there. So, we have our membership. We go there every Sunday. We prep. You're able to get, fridge space, dry storage space, and it really makes it where you could really dot out your numbers and know that, okay, there's a bare minimum, but I don't have to I'm not obligated to some lease where I'm like, okay, I'm spending thousands of dollars. We might spend, let's say, roughly $600 now, and that could go up, So if something did come up, we had a huge catering event, I was able to just go online, add more hours. And then that made sense to the business because it wasn't a straining obligation. And the facility is awesome. It's health inspect. Everything's there. You just have to show up with your serve safe that I do teach, by the way. So,
So can you tell me more about the partnerships and the value you've gotten out of working out of the Culinary Center? So have you partnered with any other businesses? What does that look like?
Yeah, we've partnered with a bunch of businesses. Just like we're all about the local sourcing community, we're also all about promoting other chefs as well, because we know how it is to be an entrepreneur and you want that shout out. So we're definitely all about bringing people into our business. And that's one thing you have to remember, I think, as an entrepreneur. It's good to go at it alone, but at some point in time, you're going to need other partners and you're going to need that relationship. So building those relationships in the early stage is really important, and supporting other people as well. So we use Bright Yellow Creamery before. They're also at the CCA for our desserts. Yeah, we've used
well, right now we're using the pear tea and
yes.
So I'm using their lemon ginger blend to make a marinade for our roast chicken. So it's good stuff. The great thing is I see them. I can see them right there.
And you have the Haitian connection?
Exactly. It's Pascal, you got to, It was very easy because I could look at his product. It's all organic. I see him making it. He's in a facility that's certified. And it's very easy to use that. Same with Bright Yellow Creamery. And I know, we're probably going to try to get some gelato in the mix. And, we're down for everything because like I said, it's there. And I know it's a trustworthy relationship because we're in the same facility.
Great. And I also wanted to talk about the partnership with IBX. So how did you form that relationship for event?
That was everything's all these emails, right? All I do, I'm sending so many emails per day. I think I have to send about 20 to stay on top. IBX was similar to the CC, actually. One note, I was at the CC before it was built 4 or 5 years ago and did something with a company that I had a while back called Green Cards. Same with IBX. As they were building it, we connected through Urban 3 years ago. And then nothing happened. And luckily, when we started everything we did, I shot the email hey, we're doing this now. And she's like, oh, yeah, we have this space. Just come by. And we've done it twice so far. We have another one coming up May, second Tuesday. Second Tuesdays are when we try to be there. So, it's Independent Blue Cross, and it's their initiative to just try to help the community out by providing the facility to host events that are based around health and wellness. So, that's one of our events where we don't have alcohol specifically for that. It wouldn't make sense if you're serving alcohol.
We do have mocktails.
Yeah.
And they're really delicious.
What's an example of one of the good mocktails that you make?
That grapefruit one.
Right, so I did we did a grapefruit with rosemary simple syrup with sparkling water. So, obviously you could just take it home and dump some gin in it. But for the time being, for what it is by itself, it's actually very well put together and refreshing.
Yeah, and you made the rosemary simple syrup.
Well, yeah.
And, everything from scratch.
And now she's been taking, hiatus on drinking. So now you have to be creative. I can't just be pouring club soda. Here's a drink. You have to really
it's boring.
Yeah.
And then can you talk about the logistics of the event? So are they free or paid, and how do you manage those?
So they're paid events. The IBX events are a little more cost-friendly, Yeah, they are typically about $40. We do 4 courses of small plates at IBX, and it's paired with the mocktail. And it's not when people think small, they're like, oh, small plates, but they're like scallops and oysters and like steak, and like you're just getting it in a smaller portion, but it's a pretty hefty portion because we give you like 2 scallops on the small plate. So you're getting a really good bang for your buck if that's a concern for people. But at the same time, if it's not, you get a wonderful experience, and it can be romantic. It can be just for friends. It can be the networking, I guess, where team building exercises where companies can come in and do that kind of like as their happy hour without alcohol. So you can, because it is from 5 to 7. So it's great if companies come in and they're team building together, they're learning to make things, or they're sitting and enjoying it together. And you don't have to be obligated just to sit and stare at us. If you want to have your conversations with us, we love it. If you want to talk on your own, we love it as well. The concept actually came from an interactive dinner show I worked at in Cannon Beach, Oregon, the Cannon Beach Cooking School with Bob and Lenore. And it was great. And what they did, theirs was paired with wine and beer, and it was 5 courses, including a dessert. You know, they would talk with everybody, and people were able to write notes down so that when they go home, they can replicate this themselves and seem like a master chef, quote unquote.
And it's very open-ended. So IBX is definitely one example, but like you said, right now we have 3 events posted. So the things we do at the free library, usually they just require registration. So I said May 1st, we have one at Rand House that's free, open to the public. We have another one May 15th at the main library. We're doing a class on oils, different oils. So rather than just eating a bunch of food, this is going to go through a variety of different oils and different cooking processes. So you'll be snacking. And then, we do things with kids as well, nourishing literacy. We've done a lot of classes with Masterman in the past. So it's everything. It could be free, and then it could be like a couple $100, depending. What do you want? We could make it happen.
Great. Well, can you talk more about your local sourcing and how you're partnering with local farmers or growing your own food here?
Yeah, so from my past experiences, I've just kind of built this list of relationships. One of the main ones was Birch Tree Catering, and they're a very sustainable catering company out in the Northeast. They've won Best of Philly, actually. Working with them, they kind of put me onto a lot of people we think about now. So Green Meadows is a great example. It's in Gap, PA, a family-owned farm, and they're just crushing it. They're growing citrus and greenhouses in PA, like everything you could think of. Black walnuts, like we're making hot sauce with peppers that they dried up. They're making vinegars, like my vinegar is from PA. We're using apple cider vinegar and white wine vinegar from PA.
Wow.
Like it's like intense. Our steak is from them. I get capons every now and then. It's a rooster. It's like a chicken turkey almost in between. So they're a great example. And then we have things like Heritage Farms, which is around the corner from our house. And that was just
around the corner from here too.
Yeah, it's around Belmont. So it's
okay.
Yeah, so on the United Methodist properties, it's a 2-acre farm right there in West Philly that grows like a variety of things you wouldn't even think of. And then there's there's Lancaster Farm Fresh that I kind of picked up from. Some of their products are available throughout, but they're a cooperative. It's a nonprofit cooperative of like 100 farms in Lancaster. So you could literally get everything you could think of. And it's actually priced better than you would anticipate. I mean, obviously, if you go to a market like Whole Foods and get it, it's going to be priced up. But, we're getting at a wholesale price, so it makes sense. And then on our main sourcing, we use Baldor, which is from New York. And they do a really great job of bringing in just everything you could think of, like local sourcing. So like Ronnie Brook is like a great farm for grass-fed dairy product in New York. So, it's not just PA. We try to, we're going to tap into Jersey as well. There's a lot of fresh tomatoes and herbs, and we're going to tap into Delaware. And then, obviously, like, there's no black pepper that's grown locally. So within reason, I think we try to push for 80-20 or so. And
we get a lot, though, because even our tortillas are from a local New Jersey guy. And the tofu is from a West Philly person. And our fish from Samuels and Sons also comes from Jersey. So even though it's 80-20, we're getting like things that are pretty close.
I mean, essentially every week I try to look and I'm like, okay, like I used to get apple cider vinegar from Bragg's Organic, which is a good brand. Then I was like, oh, Green Meadows has it. Boom, switch that. So as soon as we find it and I could, as long as it makes sense financially, then we're moving with it. So 100% local as much as we can.
So how are you finding customers? So can you talk more about marketing, more, I guess, for the meal prep side and less for events?
Instagram.
Yeah,
that's the marketing.
A lot of word of mouth. The
Mhm.
meal prep came about accidentally. I actually didn't want to do it at all. Once Urban closed, I had people reach out and be like, hey, can you be like sort of like my, not necessarily personal chef, but I would go into people's homes and cook for them at like a steep hourly rate. I would work on a menu, send it to them. Some people had their trainers send me macros and I'll figure it out and I'll just show up and cook. And then once I got to about like 3 or 4 people, I was like, man, I'm traveling to all these random houses and they don't necessarily have commercial equipment. So then I thought back, I'm like, oh, the CCE, Culinary Center. Let me take it back. We're able to prep in a proper facility because, we're prepping. We have a full walk-in and freezer. We're able to cool everything properly, plate it on nice stainless steel tables, and then package it up. So that's how it came about. Like, we both wanted different things. She wanted to do strictly interactive dinner shows. And I was like, look, I don't like meal prep, but we're doing it. There's people that want it. And then it kind of came about. And then same with catering. It's like, I don't necessarily love catering, but it's like we have this amazing product and we're just trying to get it out in different sources.
I don't think anyone loves catering. Catering is such a very arduous business.
Well, people who attend catering events enjoy it, but if you're like producing it, it's like...
But you love that thrill. I will say that. You do love the thrill, but it is a lot of work.
So you said marketing through Instagram and then word of mouth. Any other sources?
Some LinkedIn here and there. I mean, our website, Eventbrite, when we do events. We haven't done any paper marketing. I do want to eventually reach out to like Be Well Philly from Philly Mag. I mean, obviously, since we're doing the cook event, that's through collaboration with Philly Mag. And it's really just the events. I think once you come, you taste the food, you see what we're doing, and you understand it, then it's not for everyone, because some people do go home and cook every day. And some people don't like the idea of reheating food. So it's very in between. And that's what we want to create, our groceries compartment, where you can get raw items. You could get partially prepped items. Like one of my friends now from college, he orders all his proteins raw. And I just give him an instruction that he likes grilling up his own salmon. So we really leave it open-ended. All we're claiming is that we have the sourcing and we have the expertise and we could get it to you, how you want it. If you want zero effort, that's fine. If you want to learn and do some things, then that's fine as well.
And all of the ordering is online?
Yes, it goes through our online portal, through a secure processor, Stripe. We also use Square, and you can use your credit, debit card, and we also do delivery cash. We're trying to add a pickup component so you don't have to pay the delivery fee, but logistically it's a little weird right now, so we'll figure that out.
Are you using a partner for delivery? How's that work logistically?
Leanne's car.
Yeah.
Okay.
Logistically, it's like if you think of anything that's happening, it's like us.
Oh,
exactly. Well, we just started our business January 14th, so
With
of this
test
year.
runs, yes.
yeah,
So
of
you're
this
very
year.
startup mode.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're still in that startup mode. I mean, Chris has a lot of experience because he's built a lot of businesses over the years, especially with Urban. But a key thing to remember is in your first 4 months, you got to just be flexible and be patient. Like things, if you don't have the money to market, because right now we're doing that. We didn't get investors right now, but this isn't the time to get investors right now. So if you want marketing, but you're like, then use the social media, use those resources until you have, all your logistics worked out and you can then pitch something that's legit and say, okay, now we get a marketing plan. I'm going to put, I think a lot of people where they falter is that they go into everything. They're like, oh, let's do it all at once. And then they're like, oh, we're not getting any customers and money's out of my pocket. And now I'm in more debt. You don't want to be in debt. You have to live your life as well as also your business.
Yeah, we get a lot of support. Her mom actually helps us out periodically.
Yeah, Caribbean support.
Yeah.
Nice. And you said this is a new business. You're also a married couple. How do you manage being partners in life and also in business?
Thanks to me. I'm just kidding. No, I love Chris. I love him so much. He's such a business oriented person. And I love that because when you're in a marriage, you want somebody who's going to be that focus. You got to have a teammate who is the focused one and is like, okay, I'm going to handle the finances and do this. So you're secure, and then you also need the other person who's like, hey, let's do fun things and romantic things because it's also our relationship, and we got married December 1st, 2017, and we started a business January 15th, 14th, 2018. So it was definitely, we just kind of accelerated into it. But so far in the beginning, I'm going to be honest. Yeah, it was a lot of combative, especially because we've never worked together in that way. And even though we were great in our personal relationship, him as a boss, he's great. And we're both A-type personalities. And I've had my own businesses with my mom. So we like to give instructions. And I had to learn to take the step back because he's the chef. And when I'm in the kitchen, it's his playground. Now, when we're talking other things, like anything else, it's my playground. So it's definitely learning what the other person's strengths are and what the other person's weaknesses are. And then how do you blend this into a beautiful relationship and business too. So when you're business partners with somebody you don't know, it's the same issues you're going to have. But the only difference with being in business with somebody you do know is you have to go home and sleep next to them. And it better be good because the next morning you got to do it all over again. That's how I feel. How do you feel, honey?
It's great. You know, I think I don't know. I thrive in just things that are complex and complicated. You know, I think if it was like just waking up and just doing the same thing to me is depressing. So I like the fact that we just never know, you know, like the other night, like I pull all-nighters every now and then, but it's for me. You know, yesterday I slept for 2 hours, got up, and then we just banged out our quarterly financials. And to me, it's like I'm on no one's time. It hasn't paid off to where I want it yet necessarily, but you know, it's definitely a lot of freedom, and we're obviously obligated to produce weekly now, but I think the long-term goal, you know, where we're headed is definitely going to pay off.
And can you share more about what the long-term vision is for everything we eat? So I guess if you could look 10 years from now, where would the business be?
Well, immediately, I'll give you a hint. We might have just gotten like a 21-foot truck, food truck. So we'll pause on that for now. And so that's a component, and we're trying to incorporate doing some sort of outing. Like we wanted to do a trip to Oregon and things like that. And I think we just want to get this machine going where we could have, you know, once I have the proper staff, have meal prep kind of sustain itself and then really focus on us getting out there and being the face, you know, through doing like interviews like this, doing the show, and then just being out there, just being known as like, look, you know, I think we're pretty good looking people and we fit the part. And we've, you know, I think there's definitely a lot of pretending, you know, like I actually grow stuff at home. I actually collect seeds. I'm actually doing this like every day, you know, so it's not even hard, you know. Sometimes I'll cook for like 12 hours and then I'll go home and cook for like 4 more. To me, cooking is not even something that bothers me. Now the dishes, that's annoying. But, you know, like I could just cook all day, all week and not even think like, oh my God, I'm tired. You know, so it's, I think because it's what we love, it doesn't even matter. You know, I like going out there, getting in the dirt, making it happen.
We're very excited to eventually, once I graduate, travel and bring food and learn to other people while also learning what their foods are. So we can incorporate other cuisines into our things. And, you know, like Chris said, we love the travel component. We were people who came here as immigrants. And well, you were born here, but you still traveled back and forth. And we love like sharing culture with other people. And I guess, again, hence the name, everything we eat and everything you eat. So it's this mutual relationship. So we're excited for that tenure.
So the end goal obviously is, you know, to cash out. We'll see how that works out and the various components of the business. It's a lot of different revenue streams. So it's like we'll take it small now, you know, little catering, but it's not like all our things in one basket. You know, I think as we progress, we'll be able to say like, okay, all these venues are working out and are to our benefit.
Right. Where can people find Everything We Eat online?
So it's everythingweeat.com. We're on Instagram, Everything We Eat Philly. Yeah. And besides that, yeah, just my Instagram is Chris Paul Chef. You can reach out anytime. All our info's on there. So, you know, we pick up the phone as much as we can as far as answering emails as much as we can. So, but our website will definitely kind of guide you towards who we are, what we're doing, and what sort of services we provide.
Well, thank you all for joining me. I'm so excited to see where you all take Feed the Beast as the new host.
Hello everyone, I'm Ryan Martin, the production consultant for The Grit Live. If you enjoyed this episode of Feed the Beast, please share it with the world. If you have any feedback or would like to be featured on this program, please email us at thegritlive@gmail.com. Join us Thursday, May 3rd at Eats for Equity, a special fundraiser showcasing the Center for Culinary Enterprises and some of the businesses that you've heard on the Grit Live's programming. For more details, visit e4e2018.eventbrite.com. That's the number 4e 2018.eventbrite.com. Thank you for listening.